What's up, everybody? It's JT Sports, and I'm back at it again with Quincy Bell Sports with another March Madness tournament preview. Make sure to check out Quincy Bell Sports' YouTube channel. It will be down in the description in the comment section below. He'll load baseball, college football, college basketball, NFL. He does everything. He's versatile. So make sure to go check out his channel and make sure to go subscribe and support him. And he's going to be giving us his top 5 overrated teams going into March Madness. So let's start at number 5. So, Quincy, I'm going to give it to you.
All right. My number 5 overrated team going into March. Now, I don't even understand why this team is even going to be in the tournament. They're not really projected to be a real high seed. They're going to be a 10 seed. But that's Oklahoma, and they have not been looking good as of late. They, at one point, lost 5 games in a row to some of the weaker Big 12 opponents. And they're not really projected to be a real high seed. They're projected to play like Wofford or Iowa in the first round. But I don't even think they should be in the tournament in the first place. So I think Oklahoma's pretty overrated. If you're looking for tips to complete your bracket, I would definitely stay away from picking Oklahoma.
That's funny because last year a lot of people felt that Oklahoma was overrated.
Oh, yeah, they definitely were.
Yeah, they went ice cold. I believe they lost at one point. They lost 11 games in a row.
Yeah, they did lose 11 games in a row, and Rhode Island kind of exposed them.
Yeah. So you have Oklahoma at number 5. Who do you have at number 4?
All right, so number 4 is kind of interesting because there are a lot of teams that people think are overrated, but in my opinion, aren't really overrated. But if I had to go with a number 4 team, I honestly think it's Mississippi State. I'm not too high on Mississippi State. They're 21-8. They're projected to be a 6 seed, but I mean, they lost to Arizona State. They lost to South Carolina, Ole Miss, which aren't that good of teams. And they've struggled against a lot of the better competition in the SEC. Like, a lot of their wins have come to the bottom of the barrel SEC teams, but when they've had to run into the strong opponents, they've really struggled. Like, they struggled against Auburn, Kentucky, LSU, Tennessee. They're playing right now. They haven't done well against the SEC's better teams, and I feel like that's going to hurt them once March comes around. So, give me Mississippi State.
And who do you have at number 3?
My number 3 team is actually going to be... Hold on, let's take a look here. I think it's Florida State. I don't like Florida State that much. I mean, they are 23-6, and they do have some good wins under their belt, but they're another team that's kind of struggled against the better teams in the ACC. UNC being one of those teams, they lost to Duke. They did lose to Duke on a buzzer beater, but they've also struggled with some of the really weaker teams, like they lost to Pitt and Boston College. So they have struggled against weaker teams, and they're most likely going to be facing a weaker opponent in the first round.
And they always struggle.
They do always struggle.
Florida Gulf Coast a few years ago. Never forget.
Never forget. Yeah, so give me Florida State at number 3.
And who do you have at number 2?
My number 2 team is going to be Virginia Tech. Now, I don't think this team's going to get upset in the first round, but these guys have been praised as world beaters after they beat Duke. But before that, they've had losses to Clemson. They have a loss to Penn State. They have not looked like... If you lose to Penn State, I'm sorry, you're not a real contender. Penn State at one point was 1-11 in Big Ten play. I really don't like Virginia Tech, and I don't see what's so good about them. They don't have a real good win on their schedule. Like the only real good win I see is the Duke win. But other than that, I mean, they struggled against UNC. They still have to play UNC, I believe. And I don't really know what's up with Virginia Tech. I feel like this is going to be a team, they either make it to the Final Four and shock everybody, or they're going to lose in the first round. I don't think there's any in between. Give me Virginia Tech as my number 2 overrated team.
I think Virginia Tech is kind of interesting because after that Duke win, they have been playing a little bit better. It's all about momentum, but I agree with you as of right now. Well, I agree and I kind of disagree. Like, I'm not going to call them overrated, But I would like to see what they do in the ACC tournament next week. Like,
yeah, that's definitely that's gonna be a big telltale sign.
Yeah, so I'll agree, but I also would like to see what they do in the ACC tournament. And I'm not talking about the first round one. I want to see them make it to round 3 to prove their legitimacy.
Definitely.
So for your final spot, who do you have at the very, very lucky one, the most overrated team going into the tournament?
Okay.
This?
For me, it's Kansas.
Yep, I knew it.
You knew it. You knew it.
I
do not like Kansas. They have some bad losses on their record. They have a loss by 30 to Texas Tech. They lost by about 20 to Kansas State, lost to Kentucky, lost to Texas, lost to West Virginia, Iowa State, Arizona State. They started off so hot. And they have just fallen so fast. And here's another thing. You know how I said Oklahoma was one of the more overrated teams?
Yeah.
As we're filming this, Oklahoma is beating Kansas 23-7 on the road. They're beating Kansas 23-7 on the road, which I don't know if that's I don't think that's Oklahoma being good. I think Kansas not being very good. I am not a huge fan of Kansas. I do think they'll get the benefit of a pretty decent seed, probably a 3 seed, and if they do win in the first round, I think that's as far as they'll go.
You see, the interesting thing about Kansas, like, Kansas always has these little slumps. And I think it's because they don't really have elite shooters. I think that was a flaw. They remind me of a bunch of the Kentucky team from last year. They're very, very athletic, but they don't have those consistent knockdown shooters like how Villanova had with Ryan Shinzo and guys like that, you know? And I think that's always been Kansas' downfall. They haven't really had a great shooter in a while, and you know, I think that kind of hurts them in the long run. So I'm gonna agree with you. But normally, when it comes tournament time, Coach Self normally gets Kansas together. And Kansas normally have good runs in the tournament, but I don't think they'll probably have a good run like this. I'll give them Sweet 16.
Yeah. Well, another thing that I don't like about them is when they started off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. When they started off the season 10-0, they had Udoka Azubuike, who is a very, very athletic center, very tall. He was getting points at will in the paint, and he suffered an injury and will be out he's been out for the majority of the year and will be out for the tournament. So that's another reason.
Yeah. Well. Everybody, that's Quincy Bell Sports, giving us his top 5 overrated teams going into March Madness. Make sure to check out his channel. Make sure to subscribe. And also make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel as well. And Quincy, thanks for coming on once again. We look forward to having you back to give everybody another March Madness preview. And thanks for coming on, man.
You're welcome. I'm really liking doing these March Madness videos. They're going to be daily, either on this channel or on my channel. So, excited for that.
All right, man. Thanks for coming on. Take care.